YouTube, what is up? We are back with another day, and today it is day 2 of the program on a Monday because we started this week on a Sunday, and that means we got some sprints, we got some snatches, we got some cleans, and we got some pulls, and should be a pretty electric day. We got to break the 1-1s on these 10 by 10 yard flies, and we got to break a 1-0 on these full flies. And we're going to start off with some rolls of sprints. We just finished up with the warm-up, which was a ton of ground contacts in some lower intensity plyos. We did 4-way pogo hops. We did some neon Dions. We did some skips for height. And we're just trying to get those feet rolling, starting to feel bouncy, and really start to transition some of the stuff we've been doing in the weight room onto the field today. So let's get after it. Let's go. All right, so to start today, we got some dive through 10-yard sprints. So we're diving onto the mats, rolling over, getting up, and sprinting out. Really like this one for athletes, just to get them on and off the ground, work on some fluidity there. I had a really good football coach that talked about one of his big recruiting pieces when he was looking for like hidden gems and hidden athletes, was looking at how when athletes fall, how they get off of the ground. And I do really think it is a pretty underrated category of athleticism. And it's not that you train to get off the ground better. It just shows a lot of like how your spine segments, your adaptability, and how you use the ground, or do you fight the ground. And a lot of really bad athletes fight the ground so they stay on the ground when they hit it, rather than popping back up and using that momentum and rolling out. So that's what we got today to start. We got 3 to 5 of these. Then we're gonna run our 10 by 10 yard sprints. We're gonna run 2 to 3 of those, and then 2 to 3 of fly 10s, same as last week. Let's rip it. A 2.826, again, this number doesn't really mean much. It just gives us intro workout competitions to continue to push this and to speed that process up. So we got 3 more here, let's go. 2.793 on that one. That one's much better. I got asked a question on Instagram where I get these gymnastic mats from. I think I have the link in my Instagram bio still, but if I don't, they're just on Amazon. If I can find them, I'll throw them in the link to the description. But they're just Amazon 1-inch gymnastic mats. And they're pretty perfect for a lot of the slower gymnastic type movements that we do, even like a little bit of dives. It's not very good for any backflips or like super dynamic movements. We have, I think, a 3-inch pad that's much more expensive for those type of movements, and it's way safer, and it like actually cushions the drop. This kind of just keeps you from rolling on cement and concrete. But I would really recommend every single gym invest like $200 in a couple of these mats, and I think it'll greatly increase your athlete's willingness to do some meathead gymnastics, and the amount of options and things that you can do with these mats is through the roof. You can set them up as obviously gymnastic mats, but you can also set them up as little hurdles or little nets. We play a lot of tennis over them, so we TP them together and then we play tennis over them. But we've had these for probably 5 or 6 years now. They're finally starting to like rip apart and like fall apart. Like they used to be together in a little bit of a wide thing, but that's after 6 years of like pretty hardcore abuse and a gym move. But like the actual things themselves have not opened up and have not broken, and then they've held together really well. So it's definitely worth the investment there. I'll throw the link in the bio if I have them. 2.776. Let's go. We got one more here. Let's go. End it on a banger. 2.678. Let's get to these fly 10s here. All right, now we got these 10 by 10 yard flies. Last week, these were absolute butt cheeks, and then the fly 10s were really good. So hopefully these can be good, and the fly 10s could be good. But if we're gonna pick one to suck, I'd rather suck at this and then break 1 second today. So let's get after it. Let's go. Hey, heads up, heads up. We suck again. 1, 1, 1, 9. We really got to get better at these. We got 2 more. Let's go. Throw some nicotine in. Like maybe I gotta implement some more sled work. Usually acceleration is where I thrive. But right now, we're at a 1.116, and it's not feeling like I'm opening up here. Let's run one more. Run one more here. Let's go. Last round of these. Then next week, I think I'm gonna run a 3-week series of like dragging a sled. I just gotta figure out how to hook my sled up in here. Kind of stuck to the old turf. But I think this new turf is slidey enough to be able to slide with the sled. So if I can get the sled going, I'm gonna do that. Otherwise, I'm gonna find some chains and do the same thing, but we're gonna chain it up for 3 weeks. And we'll start to build it up that way. Just losing a little bit of interest doing the same thing over and over again. But we'll run the same kind of sprint template for 3 weeks, then add little variations here. But last one here, let's end on a win. Let's go. Yeah, those were slow as shit. 1115. Let's get to some real fly 10s here from the wall. All right, first fly 10. I was asked how far this buildup is, and I just measured it out. So it's 75 feet, which I believe is 25 yards, right? So 60 feet would be 20 yards. Half of, 15 feet more would be 5 more yards, right? I think I did that math right. I don't know. It's like 25-ish yards that we got here. I'll do the calculation. It's actually 72 feet is what we got for our buildup here. So whatever that is in yards, I will do the math after this, is what we got for a buildup on these. The fact these are so much faster than those 10-yard flies is concerning, since I feel like I'm an acceleration monster and not a max velo monster, and must be doing something wrong on those XLs for these to be that much faster. But let's go break in 1 second here. Let's go. 3 of these. All right, so there's a shot we are just slow today, because that felt pretty fast. I thought that might have been close, and it was a 1045. So we got to open up a little bit here. Holy shit, let's go. So I did the official math on a calculator, and I was correct. It is a 24-yard build-in. That was disappointing. Last week I felt slow as shit, and it was fast as shit. This week I feel fast and like not beat up, and it's slow as shit. So kind of hate sprints when it comes to that, but all it takes is one. All it takes is one fast one. Let's man up and do it. Let's go. Oh, I mean, a little better. 1028. It feels like I'm missing that last little gear. Like that one, I felt it. Felt that last little bit. Kind of lock up, like avoid it. We got one more. We'll get some work in, even if we're not PRing. 10 will fly. It will drop. Just got to trust the process here. God dang it, that's frustrating. Let's go. Just no juice today. 1021. I mean, it's like expecting a 1 rep max, a new 1 rep max every single week on snatches or any lifts, but decently frustrated with that. Was feeling pretty good coming today. I didn't sleep the best last night, but had like a 2-hour nap today in preparation for these sprints. Felt like the diet was on point and really had it in the sights to at least get close to that 1 second today. To be that far away, take that step back. A little frustrating, but again, that's training. Highs and lows, man. Can't expect PRs every single week. It's not a crazy linear journey. It's a lot of exponential dips, big gains, dips, big gains. And we had that big gain last week. To expect it again this week when it came kind of out of blue, like I didn't deserve last week in the sense of how good it was, and I probably don't deserve today and how bad it was. But that's training, man. You find the middle ground between those things, and that's why you continue to train and continue to give yourself shots at those exponential gains. But we'll be back better than ever. Next week, we'll probably run some curved sprints, and like I was saying, those resisted 10-yard flies as our new speed day for the 3 weeks, just to mix it up a little bit. I feel like I'm smashing my head against the wall a little bit. 3 to 4 weeks in of just hitting these straight fly 10s. And it wouldn't be much of an operation and a challenge if we just broke it right away, right? So it's kind of cool. Keeps me sprinting, keeps me interested in it. It will happen. Let's go. Get some jumps. So I was kind of thinking about my schedule. What was really happening was I was having an ego death and crashing out about those sprint times. And this is not to make excuses again. Could have just been a slow fucking day. But I was doing the math, and I'm less than 48 hours away from when we maxed out on Friday last week. Then we had 1 day off. Then we went hard yesterday, and then we're back at it today. And typically I have 72 hours before this. So I wonder if that played a key into why we were slow today and just like feel beat up. I'm hitting these snatch warm-ups and just feel slow and lethargic on those. I'm feeling the legs be dead, and I didn't have that feel at the start of the workout, so I don't know if they're just dead from the sprints or if I wasn't picking up on that before. But I feel like that also has a role to play in this. But anyways, failure happens in training. This is exactly when most people crash out completely about their programs and talk about changing fucking everything instead of just looking at the data points that they had. We had one of our best weeks of training of all time this last week, and the weeks before we're crushing it as well. And one bad day does not equal change your entire fucking program. I know that personally. Like, I'm not crashing out about changing our program. I know we're in a pretty heavy lifting phase. We're building up to some big rep maxes here. And I think it's in like 3 weeks we go for a new 1 rep max on the snatch and clean, which will be sickening. But we're building hard for that right now in the weight room. Again, last week I don't think I deserved that 1 second fly 10. and we kind of just rolled the die and got lucky there. But anyways, just use your fucking data points. Don't crash out and change your program at every single failure that you have. Use a little common sense and understand actually what you're building for. When we want an actual, like if I want an actual fly 10 just by itself with nothing else that I'm doing, we would cut a ton of the weight room stuff that we're doing, a ton of the compression stuff that we're doing, and focus a lot more on the sprints. And not even just a lot more on the sprints, but a lot less on the compressive activities we're doing in there. Right now, my back is just feeling fused pretty much every single day, and I'm all right with it because we're building up, and we don't have softball right now. So I really want to emphasize the weight room and make this a big strength building phase as we go forward. So I should be grateful to be able to hit any PRs on the sprints rather than be butthurt not to hit a sprint right now that is fast, because it's not what our program's building for. Once we build up to those 1 rep maxes on this program, typically we have like a 1 to 2 week period where it's really light in the weight room, and I think that's really where we'll see the changes in the sprints, just because the back is going to be way less compressed. And we'll have just a lot more energy for the sprints. In the same way that softball takes away energy from the lifts, and like trying to PR in the lifts when we were doing softball every single night, it's the same exact situation where the weights is taken away a little bit from the sprinting, and we're totally all right with that right now. But that was just a little bro science math and a little rants, because I have so many athletes, if they had ran that today, would have absolutely crashed out. I would have had to have a therapy session with them for 2 hours. And I don't think that's necessary. But we got these depth drop broads here. As soon as I hit the ground, we're taking off. We got 3 sets of 3 here. Then we got 3 sets of 3 seated hurdle hops over there. Again, continue to microdose these jumps. Really like this approach. Again, it's making me feel powerful with the jumps itself, but also a great warm up for the Olympic lifts and makes me feel better. So we're gonna continue to rip these every single day. Let's go. Ooh. Oh, there we go. That was a ooh, ooh, dang. We're kind of getting out there on those broads. It feels nice. Let's get to these seated broad jumps here. All right, now we got 3 sets of 3 on these low box hurdle jumps here as our little vertical jump movement problem of the day. Let's rip, let's go. Ooh. Ooh, let's go. Oh, we got that. Ooh, let's get it. All right, now we got 4 sets of 2 of these power snatches here. I'm gonna do resets on each of them, so a little bit different than last week where I was trying to string them together, because that bottom position, I just feel like I have no connection or power out of that bottom position. So we're gonna do a rep, reset it at the bottom, do a rep again from the bottom, and really just emphasize that power and pull from that bottom position, try to get that connection back. It's feeling like butt cheeks. It felt like butt cheeks when we were maxing it out last week. The hang felt super powerful. And the pull from the ground just felt absolutely god-awful. So we're gonna focus on that this week and rip. We got 190 on the bar, let's go. Sloppy. Before we rip the second set here, I gotta give a big shout out to one of my best friends, Mark Dowdle. He trains with us in the morning as one of our ultra hybrid hardcore athletes that we have. But he just had a last man standing race in Wisconsin that he just won, $2,000 prize package, pretty sickening. But he ran 263 miles in 64 hours or 63 hours, which is just fucking unbelievable. It's like a 4-mile loop every hour on the hour. So you, whatever time you finish that 4-mile loop at, you have time to like take a nap, eat food, and then you gotta hop back on the line, run again. There's like 50 runners that started it, and it ended up just being 2 guys going at it for like literally 24 hours straight. Everybody else had dropped by then. 2 guys just going hardcore at it, and Dowdle ended up taking home the prize package, which was fucking sick. But he's an absolute psychopath. And he has a YouTube and Instagram page, so if you are a runner or just like a little bit of motivation in your life of getting your life together, I love surrounding myself with people that get after things, whatever your thing is, and he is definitely one of those people that motivates me in life to continue to grind, to continue to show up. And obviously he's doing it in a much different sector when he's running and I'm lifting weights and doing softball, right? But it really doesn't fucking matter. The process is the same. Show up every single fucking day. Give everything that you have, and then when it's game time, perform. And that's one thing he is next to none at. We played football together at St. Thomas, and we were 2 of the biggest psychopaths on the field together, so it's kind of fitting that we're 2 of the biggest psychopaths after life together. But it was a pretty remarkable feat. He thought it was gonna, I think the record before was like 48 hours, and he predicted like a 50-hour race, and it ended up going 64 hours and 263 miles. So that's pretty dope. And again, if you just want some motivation in your life or just want to support a really fucking cool dude, He is definitely worth checking out. Mark Dettle on YouTube and Instagram. Go be a fucking animal like him. Let's get this second set here. Kind of ripping these every minute on the minute here. Sets of 2. Again, it's pretty light, but really just trying to build up that pole position from the bottom. Still not feeling super connected. Let's get it. There we go. Oh. That set felt a little better. Let's finish strong here. 4th set here. Let's finish strong. Oh. Best ones yet. Let's get some power cleans. All right, now we got 5 sets of 1 power cleans here at 275. I was asked the question here, how big do you think confidence in one's physical ability is for injury prevention? And I really do believe this is a very large piece of injury prevention, not because there's some psychological component that magically protects you and just like rolling out on the field. Confidence is just gonna magically prevent injuries. I know a lot of athletes that get injured that had no idea they were gonna get injured. They were not neurotic athletes and it just kind of happened, right? But where I think that confidence from your own body's ability comes from is previous competence you have proven to yourself, right? So if you're a confident athlete in your body's ability to do what it's required to do, that typically means you're confident because you have proven to yourself over and over again your body is capable. Your body's capable of running at fast speeds without getting injured, from landing at high heights, from making cool plays, from getting hits, from making big hits, right? Like, confidence doesn't just come from an athlete that has never done these things before. And what this confidence means is you have proven it to yourself in training or practice previous to you stepping on the field. So you walk onto the field confident because you have proven to yourself previously that you're competent enough to be able to handle with the load of the sport. And that is important because, again, it means you are actually competent. And so many neurotic athletes, so many athletes that are fearful of movement, so many athletes that are not confident in their bodies, what they do is they create a self-fulfilling prophecy that they feel unconfident in their bodies, so they don't train their bodies. They don't ever become competent because they're scared of jumping, they're scared of landing, they're scared of sprinting fast, they're scared of lifting heavy weights. And then they actually become incompetent. And that incompetence leads to inconfidence. And when you're incompetent, your body's actually unable to handle the loads that the sport or life requires of you. You do get hurt, not because of your confidence level, because of your competence level, because you haven't taken the time to actually prepare your body and put your body in situations that sport and life requires it to. What's up, Mom? Sorry, we had a little intra-mother call about taxes there. So we'll get back to our rants here. The self-fulfilling prophecy of the incompetent athlete is they don't prepare on the field because they feel scared of movement. So they don't actually do the movement. They skip out on the high jumps. They don't push themselves in the sprints. They don't push themselves in the lift to stay safe. Then they get on the field. They feel incompetent. They feel rightfully unconfident in what their body's ability to do is because they haven't prepared that body. Then they get injured, not because they're unconfident, because they were incompetent. They didn't have the previous stimulus preparing them for that field because they were scared of movements. They get hurt, and then they self-fulfill that prophecy of, see, I told you I was going to get hurt. I knew I was going to get hurt. All of these situations, right? So that's why it's so important to build out confident, non-neurotic athletes and why it's so dangerous to create neurotic athletes when you go about this like perfectionist approach to movement and these perfect movement plans and these perfect landing patterns. Is the athlete subconsciously, a lot of these athletes subconsciously know is that the field is not going to let you land perfectly. It's not going to let you sprint perfectly. And then when they get it put in those compromised positions, they are not prepared for them, and then they get hurt, and they reaffirm in their brain that they are an incompetent athlete when they're not an incompetent athlete. None of us are incompetent athletes. We're unprepared athletes for whatever stimulus life gives to us in that moment. And that's why you have total psychopaths like Will being able to squat 600 pounds and deadlift 600 pounds without crushing his spine. And you have total psychopaths like Mark Dettle able to sprint 263 miles in 63 hours, taking 5-minute naps in between his loops because he has prepared his body for those situations. And your body is adaptable. Your body is able to be prepared for these situations. You just have to go about the process of preparing it to do so. And that's where that confidence comes from. So confidence is a big piece of injury prevention, but not because it's some psychological piece, but because it's a competence piece that you have proven to yourself over and over again, and you've actually prepared the body for the stimulus that the life is going to demand of it, right? So we got 5 powers here. We had a little bit of a 10-minute conversation with my mom, so we're a little bit cold here. So this first rep might be a little rough, but then we're going to rip from there. Let's go. All All right, we got to man up and make that our only non-power of the day because that was gross. I was a chicken shit. I was cold from that phone call from the mother, but you got to pick up the phone call when your mom calls, right? So, 4 more here. There we go. Ooh. Those are better. Let's get finished up with some pulls. All right, now the grinding part of the workout here. We got 3 sets of 5 at 405 at this deficit pull. These mess me up every single week. And it just keeps getting heavier, but we're going to get it. Let's go. Ooh. 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 Oh my God. Fucking spinal fusion. Can do it for free. Oh my God. 2 more sets. All right, we're gonna answer a question in between this first and second sets to give myself a little bit more of a break because that back feels like it's gonna fuse. But the question was, I'm 16, stopped playing high school ball after 10th grade and only played sports recreationally now. Still train athletic, but is that good enough if I want to build a business around this and train people? And I'm gonna be brutally honest, I never wanna like shoot anybody's dreams down of training people and starting a business and being an entrepreneur. And I think you can do all of these concurrently. But if you're 16 years old, not playing sports, it's gonna be really, really hard to relate to people that want to train and be an elite level athlete. Like at 16 years old, you should not worry about coaching, you should worry about training, and you should worry about becoming an elite athlete yourself and running other people's training programs and learning and absorbing. One piece of advice I got from my mentor, I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but he was talking about how he became a offensive coordinator at like 25 years old of a Division I college. And he said it was one of the worst things that stunted his growth because now instead of looking for the answers and being able to ask the questions, he was expected to have the answers when he really didn't feel like he had all of the answers at that moment. That's not to say once you become a head coach or become an offense coordinator, you have to stop searching for all the answers, but I do believe it makes it a little bit more hard. And I think your job and responsibility changes a little bit. So even if you do get clients, which I think it's going to be really, really hard to get clients at that age and with that training background, I also think it's going to stunt your growth as a coach and who you could become. I think this is a thing that you should invest in for 10 years. Spend the next 5 to 6 years becoming an athletic freak, running a bunch of programs, learning as much as humanly possible. Then for the 5 or 6 years after that, you can worry about being a coach, worry about being a leader. But I don't know too many people that want to be led by a 16-year-old just because you don't have enough life experience and you don't have enough athletic experience to make it matter. And that's not a bad thing. You're 16 years old. You're not supposed to have those things. But you also don't want to rush those things. Like, don't throw away the chapter in your life you're currently in because you look at chapters other people are in. I think it's going to ruin the current chapter you're in, and it's going to ruin the future chapters you're in because you want too much too soon. For the next 5 or 6 years, just train, man. Just learn. Put yourself through the ringer so you can relate to the athletes that you eventually are going to put through the ringer. And that doesn't mean don't make content. That doesn't mean you can't have a little side hustle and train your buddies or train anybody that asks you to train them. But you should not be stopping that stuff to start a business, to become a coach right now. 1, because I don't think it's going to work. 2, because I think it's going to stunt your growth long term. And it's just not worth it, right? Enjoy the moment that you're currently in. Be where your feet currently are and train your 16-year-old body to become an absolute freak because you're never going to have that chapter in your life again. You can be a coach for the rest of your life. You can be an elite level athlete for maybe the next 15 years. Don't waste any of that time being a coach. I promise it's not that sexy. All right, let's get the second set here. Ah! God damn, one more set there. Holy shit. All right, final set here, and then we're going to get out of here. The back is not responding well to deadlifts right now, but we are going to man up and get through it. Let's go. Oof. 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 Ah. Ah. Let's freaking go. That's a day. Appreciate you guys watching. Keep chopping wood. Oh my God.